Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. As you can see, I finally was able to get my hands on the new attack packs, the Wave 2 attack packs from the Dino Rivals line, and this one here is Velociraptor Charlie. I spent many weeks now looking for these ever since they started to show up in stores, and I had one heck of a hard time finding them, but I was just lucky enough to find them about 2 days ago, and here they are for us to review. As always, the box, you can see the normal Rex, Triceratops, and Owen. And then on the back, you can see the other attack pack figures from this current wave, which would be the Musaurus, the Velociraptor Charlie, Dracorex, and Proceratosaurus. Nothing else really going on with the box. Not much really to look at as it's a fairly small box, but let's break Charlie out and take a look at her. So here, as always, is the card that you do get with Velociraptor Charlie. You can see it's got a nice image there of the raptor herself, and all sorts of stats there at the bottom, and then Dino Rivals Jurassic World on the back. And here is actual Velociraptor Charlie out of the package. It kind of looks like maybe the legs are warped or something a little bit on this one. Maybe I just need to get it in a position. I don't know, this leg's a little bent, so it might be slightly warped, but it does stand okay. However, at first glance, I will say that this is actually quite the appealing looking Velociraptor figure. The paint overall looks quite nice. I'm definitely pretty excited to see that they did decide to put some paint on the tail, as opposed to stopping it right before, which Mattel loves to do with most of their figures. But as I said, it does look quite nice here at first glance, so let's get a closer look. So as we have reviewed the sculpt and everything before, we're not going to review the sculpt. It's pretty much the same sculpt as the previous attack pack Velociraptors, however there is one difference, but it's not really anything that's major that we need to go into right now with an up-close personal look. However, we will talk, of course, about the new additions, which would be the paint, and you can see that the paint overall looks really nice. The inside of the mouth has a very nice pinkish coloration in there, and overall has a pretty nice gloss to it. The teeth appear to be painted quite nicely. There's maybe a very small hint of sloppiness, but just barely anything, and I don't mind that at all. It actually looks really quite good in there. The articulated jaw, of course, does work quite perfectly, and one thing I'm super impressed with straight away is the eyes. Look at that. That eye is placed perfectly, and so is that one. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that means that Mattel finally solved their quality control issues when it comes to the eye placement of their figures. That is a huge step in the right direction for these figures, and I think it makes the figures look so much better when the eyes are placed perfectly on the head. That looks fantastic. As far as the actual paint, you can see that the paint here is a very nice light green, and then that's pretty much the primary body color. But then when you look up here on the top is just kind of modeled with a darker green, and I think that is really beautifully applied. It really looks very natural, and overall is very appealing looking. I think they did a very good job actually of matching up the color scheme of Charlie from the film to Charlie here in the action figure, and I think they did a very good job there. It actually is pretty reminiscent of the Hasbro one, because they did a pretty good job, I think, of actually matching up the color scheme. However, this raptor itself is about 643,833 times better than the Hasbro one, so we don't really have to talk about the Hasbro one anymore. This sculpt overall is a fantastic sculpt in my opinion as far as a Jurassic Velociraptor goes. I have always stated that I'm a pretty big fan of this, and I really quite like it. However, of course, the paint does end halfway down the tail. I did mention that I am appreciative of the fact that there is paint on the tail at all. However, I would have liked the paint to run the whole course of the tail, but it still looks pretty good for what it is and for how far down it goes. One interesting little aspect is the fact that as far as those little black dots that we get a lot of the time on the Mattel figures, it seems that this one actually is kind of hit with like green spots. You can kind of see, there we go. You can see they're just green spots as opposed to the black, so that's a nice little touch, something that's different for this figure compared to the others. Overall, there's no paint on the nails or anything, but I think the Velociraptor itself looks really good and a very beautiful representation of Charlie from Jurassic World. And in case you are interested and need it, there is the Jurassic Facts app code. Now, as I stated, there is one difference with this version compared to the previous versions, and I'll bring in my previously repainted version of the Attack Pack Velociraptor, and maybe you can tell right there what it is. If you cannot, then look at the legs. The legs on the newer Charlie are re-sculpted and in a much more upright position as opposed to the crouching position that the Attack Pack Velociraptors were in previously. So that is very cool, something I'm super excited about. It appears as though Mattel has actually been listening to us when we say we're tired of just getting repaints, even though I actually kind of like some of the repaints. But I would love for them to do little things like this, to maybe resculpt a leg here and there, or an arm. If they're going to continue to reuse the same type of sculpt, at least add somewhat of a slight difference just to give them their own personality. They've done that here with Charlie, so I pretty much want to start a slow clap at this point for Mattel doing that. Absolutely awesome decision on their part. As far as the size on Charlie, it, I believe, is pretty much the same size as all the Attack Pack Velociraptors, except the height would probably be different considering now it's in a more upright position. But you can see it's about 6 3/4 inches, or about 17 centimeters, maybe a little over. And for a height, you're looking at just under 4 inches, or about 10 centimeters, or a little under. For a size comparison, there is our buddy Mr. Paporex showing you that the Velociraptor here is nowhere near to scale with this version of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. However, it is showing you that the Attack Pack figures are quite the nice size. Again, they're all a very similar size, so this shouldn't come as any surprise to you at this point, but that should hopefully give you an idea, if you have not purchased any Attack Packs previously, of the size of Charlie. So in a line that is absolutely overflooded with Velociraptors, I am excited to say that we finally got a different version of an Attack Pack Velociraptor. It's not entirely different from the others, as it is pretty much the same sculpt and pose and everything, but with the newly sculpted legs, it really is a huge improvement, in my opinion, to give it some sort of originality and some sort of a personality to Charlie herself. It is very nice to see this newly resculpted legs added on. Absolutely awesome on the part of Mattel. It was a great choice on their part to finally listen to what people have been saying and just add a little bit of difference to this figure. I absolutely love that. I think this figure overall is really quite nice looking, very appealing. I love the paint on it. I think the paint really quite nicely matches, not perfectly of course, to what you see on Charlie in the film. You're never going to really get that with a toy from the toy line. However, I think as far as a toy from the toy line goes, it is a really good version of Charlie, and overall has a really appealing appearance to it. A very beautiful addition to the Velociraptor collection here with Mattel. I am super excited to see that the eyes are also all placed perfectly on this figure, as that has been a continuous problem with the Mattel figures from the start of the line, and this new Charlie appears to have corrected that, and hopefully the quality control is now underway, and they are going to be paying a much closer attention to the eyes of the figures, as like I said, this one is perfect, so I am super excited about that as well. Overall, really beautiful representation of Charlie from Jurassic World. Definitely a good high recommendation from me if you want a good version of this, a much better version than the Hasbro one. This is a great choice to go. Overall, the sculpt on this Velociraptor is beautiful, as I've stated every single time we've looked at it, and the newly additioned legs is just making this even better. So if you do want to buy it, I will throw a link in the description to where you can purchase one on Amazon.com, or you can go ahead and head over to your local Walmart like I did and purchase it in person, as it should be there, or if not, it should be there soon. Either way, beautiful Velociraptor figure. Definitely, in my opinion, if you are a fan of the Jurassic films and a fan of the Jurassic toy lines, it is without question worth a purchase. So go buy yourself an awesome Charlie Velociraptor. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.